How would you feel if all of your life's work was taken away from you? Would you believe me if I told you this happened to global superstar Taylor Swift? Hi, my name is Frankie Noble, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Taylor Swift's fight to own her life's work. So, back in 2005, a young 15-year-old girl named Taylor Swift moved with her family to Nashville to try and make it big in the music industry. She was a young country artist that just wanted to make it big and produce her own music. So, she walked up and down a street called Music Row, filled with record labels trying to find one that would sign her. Quickly, she met a man named Scott Borchetta. Borchetta was starting a new music label called Big Machine Records. When he met Swift, he listened to some of her music and noticed her amazing lyricism. He quickly realized that he wanted to sign the young artist as his first artist under his record label. So, this thus began a relationship between Borchetta and Swift, where she could produce all of the music that she wanted to. So, under Big Machine Records, she released her first 6 albums, this being her first self-debut album called Taylor Swift, the second one being Fearless, the third being Speak Now, the fourth being Red, the fifth being 1989, and the sixth being Reputation. All 6 albums were produced under Big Machine Records. So, once Reputation was released, she announced after that she was signing with a new music label called Universal Music Group. This kind of surprised fans because they thought that Borchetta and Swift had a good relationship. She released 6 albums under his record label, so they were confused why she was making the sudden switch. Everything started to make sense when she made another post. She announced that she wanted to perform at a music awards ceremony, but wasn't allowed to perform some of her biggest hits because it had been sold. So she didn't know that her music was going to be sold away from her and she couldn't own her own music anymore. The first 6 albums that she released had some of her biggest hits, like Shake It Off, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, Our Song, and a ton of more popular songs. So she couldn't perform any of these hits. And since it was sold away from her, she didn't even own it. So she wrote all the own lyrics, she produced the music, and she couldn't own any of her work. What made it worse is that the music was sold behind her back to a man that she had publicly feuded with. This man's name was Scooter Braun. Everybody knew that Swift and Scooter Braun did not have a good relationship, so it shook fans when they realized that Scooter Braun now owned all of her music. It wasn't fair that it was sold behind her back, and Swift made it publicized that she was not happy with this. US Weekly reports that the deal between Borchetta and Braun was around a $300 million deal because it was all of Swift's work at the time. So back in 2020, US Weekly also reported that Braun had sold her music to a company called Shamrock Holdings. Shamrock Holdings reached out to Taylor to try and give her back her music. They were going to sell it to her with the one condition that she couldn't talk about Scooter Braun. So not only did she have to buy back what she rightfully owned, she was going to be censored in the process of it. She couldn't speak freely about her thoughts, so she didn't want to take this deal. Distraught that she couldn't own her own music, Swift decided to re-record her old albums. Rolling Stone reported that back in November 2020, she could legally re-record all of her past music. She started this quickly. She first re-recorded her second album titled Fearless, and made it Fearless Taylor's version. So it had the original title, and then next to it parentheses that included Taylor's version, so fans knew it was what she owned. The next album that she would be re-recording was Red, her 4th studio album. Here I have the 2012 version of Red, the one that was sold behind her back. So when she re-recorded it, she called it Red, Taylor's version, and released this one. So it was a reimagined cover with all the same songs and a few new ones called From the Vault. So these From the Vault songs were songs that she originally wanted to include in the album but couldn't because her record label didn't think they would make them. So she could rightfully own her music and she could add more songs that she thought that fans would enjoy. So re-recording them, she was able to own her own music and fans could rightfully listen to it without feeling like they were supporting a person other than Taylor. So, in conclusion, because she signed with a record label that didn't appreciate her, she decided to sign with a different one, and then that record label that she originally signed with decided to sell all of her music behind her back, making her life's work gone from her. So she decided to re-record it so fans could enjoy it, and so that she could feel like she rightfully owned her own music. Thank you.